Hello, my name is Turman. I study political science, economics, and geology at the University of Houston, and I am an activist. I know it's surprising, right? I've been for many years now, but what may be more surprising than that is that each and every one of you are activists. Don't worry, I'll prove it. Now, what I hope to prove is that specifically between the ages of 18 and 24, you're all activists. How you're activists, and why you are the crappiest activists in the history of the United States. Congratulations. So before we tackle that problem, we got to know what the problem is. So let's define something. What is activism? There's two perspectives when it comes to activism, right? There's perspective one. Let's define it from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Activism is the vigorous campaigning for political and social change. Boring. It is. Using a definition to define activism like that narrows its scope or completely removes its responsibility. Let's look at my definition. The definition of activism is fighting for change and actually changing something. But this will come around in a later part of my definition. What's important here is that activism isn't just a word here. It's an action, it's a verb. It describes people, describes what they do, who they are, what they are. But now that who is they are? Let's describe who are activists. Well, activists come in many shapes and sizes, age groups, all over the place, but what I want to talk about is the age group 18 to 24. See, activists come from many different backgrounds, but they all fight for different things depending on their background, depending on their age group, and that's what I want to talk about here. But the group I'm really focusing on is the millennial group. And you saw other speakers before me speak about it, the millennial age group and everything like that, how nostalgia controls us. Well, I want to show you how hashtags control you. See, millennials, there's a big debate about what a millennial is. It's kind of a loose definition. There's no dictionary definition for what a millennial really is. So I'm going to break it down for you. If you are sitting in this crowd between the ages of 18 and 29 years old, congratulations, you're a millennial. Woo! Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on. That's good. All right. Awesome. And I just want to reiterate that you just clapped because you're a bad activist. And I will prove that too. And I'll give you a way to fight it too. That's what's good here. So this is the quote I really want you guys to take away from my presentation. 74% of you sitting in this crowd believe you can make a difference in the world. That's extremely important because 74%, that number comes from the Pew Research Institute, who what they did is they went to countries around the globe. They talked to many people within the 18 to 29-year-old age group. And what they tried to do is say, they gave a few questions, what do you believe about this, what do you believe about that? And they asked one simple question, do you think that in your lifetime, you can make a difference in the world? And out of all of these nations, out of all of these cultures, out of all of these ideologies, 74% of you believe that you could. But how? How are us millennials supposed to make any sort of difference in the world? Well, we've started a new trend. It's called the hashtag. That symbol right there, which used to be called the pound key for all you Nokia users back when we were much younger, but it used to be called the pound key. It's now called the hashtag. It was coined by a website called Gawker many years ago, which is only like 10. But the thing is that we use this tool, the hashtag, as a vehicle for social mobilization, for social and political change. Because instead of having an issue, a large issue with many different words, many different backgrounds and sides and dimensions, we like to take that issue and shrink it into a simple phrase. But that's the important part, because that simple phrase right there is the point, it makes an issue down to something other than itself. Putting a title on an issue, while important, isn't the most important part of that issue. See, I'm looking in the crowd, and I can even see a person using their laptop in the crowd right there. We all use technology. Technology is so prevalent in our culture, especially among the millennials. Because according to the Pew Research Institute, 90% of us use social media, some form or another. So that could be Twitter, Facebook, if you're from the 90s, MySpace, and all of those other things. Now, the thing is that we use these hashtags more than any other generation before us, probably less than the generation after us, but that's besides the point. But let's look at a few. These hashtags right here were the most popular hashtags from the years of 2012 to 2015. So remember my definition from earlier that you have to fight for change and you actually have to cause the change you're looking for. All right, so let's look at these, see if any of them apply to my definition. Hashtag Occupy. Let's see, 2012 movement, used a lot of hashtags, a lot of pepper spray in New York. Banks are still bigger than ever. Income inequality is still bigger than ever. CEOs' paychecks are still bigger than ever. It looks like we didn't get the change we were looking for, now 3 years later. All right, what about hashtag Coney? Does anybody remember hashtag Coney 2012? You definitely do, because you fell for it just like I did. You watch an emotional video and you go, I'm gonna buy an action pack. I just want to say sympathies to all of you that spent $30 on an action pack for a day that we all forgot about. So, hashtag Coney 2012, the problem with that is that, one, you're not going to do anything by sharing a hashtag with Coney because I don't think a warlord from the LRA in Africa is actually going to care about his like MySpace status. Like, oh no, youth participation, what will happen? Instead, what ended up happening is absolutely nothing. Joseph Coney was basically forgotten as he was forgotten before the Coney 2012 movement, and we're back to where we started. All right, what about hashtag Bring Back Our Girls, a relatively recent campaign? Well, I hate to be a Debbie Downer here, but they're still not back. In fact, only about 26 escaped out of like the 400 that were taken. And even the First Lady took part in this movement. And it brings about the other perspective of, we like to think that by sharing that hashtag we're actually changing anything. We're not. The problem is still there, and we just kind of forgot about it. So what about Stand with Planned Parenthood? They got funded, I like that, and that's my personal opinion, but that wasn't due to any of us. That wasn't due to you tweeting, oh, fund Planned Parenthood, and Joseph Biden going like, oh, better do it. Like, that wasn't it. It was the fact that there was a Senate committee hearing with the head of Planned Parenthood, and they decided they should get the money. That a federal plan decided that, not us. So what about the hashtag Yes All Women? All for feminism, let's do it. But the problem with it is that the Yes All Women was one of the most popular feminist, it was the most popular feminist hashtag ever. And yet, no uniform maternity leave, still get paid 65% on the man's dollar, and still are underutilized in the STEM fields at both college and professional levels. So that didn't change anything. What about hashtag Ferguson? Faded as soon as the media coverage ended. Once again, another failure. And we come to our last one, hashtag Black Lives Matter. It is the only hashtag on that board that is still being utilized today. And it's being utilized because there's constant media presence behind it. It's still a sexy issue. It's still something that's there. We want to talk about it because it's fun to talk about it. It's fun to talk about tragedy. And that's where I want to really talk about today, is the fact that you have tweets like this, and this is evidence the trend of tweets. In August 10th, there was a police shooting of a minority gentleman, and what happened is they had a hashtag called, if they gun me down, right? 1 week later, it's gone. Tweets are powered by emotional movements. It hits us hard, hits us in the chest, we want to do something about it. And then you tweet, if they gun me down, you know, the rest of your tweet. But what you don't realize is that after you write that tweet and you feel good about yourself, you yeah, social justice. And then you reblog a video of a cat, like, jumping at a cucumber. You've effectively negated your activism. You've effectively negated everyone's activism. And this graph proves it. Because as a quote from William Barclay, there is nothing more dangerous than the repeated experience of a fine emotion with no attempt to put it into action. This is important. We tweet, and we tweet, and we repost, and we repost, and we share, and we feel like we've done something. We see something that's traumatic, that's tough to look at, that's tough to swallow, and we think we're contributing by just saying, you know, hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag Ferguson, hashtag I stand with Planned Parenthood. But what we don't realize is that we're not doing anything. We are repeatedly experiencing a fine emotion and not putting it into action because we think that by merely sharing it on a social media network, we are causing some sort of action. And that's what I really want to break your guys' mentality from, that you're not doing anything by sharing something on Facebook. You're not doing anything by tweeting or hashtagging. And it's sad, because hashtag activism must be paired with real-world action to be meaningful. And those of you that have gone to protests, that have gone to marches, that have been in the mud of activism, I applaud you. But I still have concerns with you. Because the biggest part of activism, the biggest part of being part of a political process, being part of something bigger than yourself, is this. I know, I love big graphs too. I love big colorful graphs with tons of data. No, no one does. But let me explain. I know it's a lot to take in. So, on this side of the graph, you have liberal ideas along the x-axis, if any of you have been to a math class recently, and you have conservative values on the right side of the screen. What I want to focus on are the blue bar and the yellow bar. The blue bar indicates age groups 18 to 24. The yellow bar indicates age groups 65 or over. This is a graph about voting issues. They go to a person, they take their age, and they go, what is most important to you? And so on the right side of the screen, as you can see, 65 and up says foreign policy, keep out the foreigners. Immigration, keep out the foreigners. Terrorism, keep out the foreigners. On the right side of your screen, you see environment. Man, I want things to be groovy. Economic inequality, man, I want things to be groovy. Birth control, not really groovy, but whatever. Gay marriage, awesome, love it. But the thing is that you have the age group of 18 to 24 finding the environment, economic inequality, birth control, gay marriage to be huge voting issues. And on the right screen, foreign policy, immigration, terrorism, and healthcare being issues to the 65-year-old up and up range. Why is this important? Why did I show you this graph? It's because this nightmare. This is a voting trend map, and it is horrible. What I see here is disturbing. And let me explain it to you because it's not apparently disturbing to you guys, is that from 18 to 24-year-olds, they don't vote nearly as much as every other voter does. And this trend is only getting worse. From the baby boomer population in the 1960s till now, it has only gone down, yet our activism has continually increased. We share more, we talk about more, we're socially and politically conscious, yet we don't vote. We don't do the one thing we have power to do, the one thing that can actually promote social change and political change. We don't look at those issues that our government has a stake in, and we just go, well, I said a tweet, why do I have to vote? It's hard, I don't feel like going to the voting booth. I only have 12 hours to vote. I don't know how I'm gonna fit that time in my day. All of those excuses, complete bullshit. Just accept it right now, complete. All of you don't vote, and those who do, I applaud you. Those who don't in this room, do it because you just don't care. But you do care about the liberal ideals. You care about the environment. You care about gay marriage, and that's fine. But if you don't put hashtag activism to real world action, it won't be meaningful. And the last graph I'm going to show you is once again how we're the little sliver. Small bars, huge bars. Only 19% or 19.3% of us voted in 2002. That's disturbing. So 1/5 of our population is actually voting for the rest of us. Can you imagine if it was 100%? It'd be taller than any of these bars. Remember that 74% statistic I said in the beginning? 74% of us believe they can change the world. 74%. And yet only 21% actually try it. I want this part to be a real wake-up call for you guys, and for me. That if you think you can change the world, that if you really want to change the world, it starts here. It starts by participating in our political process, by participating in the monotony of voting, but in the monotony of watching the news, not just sharing, and not just posting the same BS that you see over and over again on the same media cycle. We're all used to this, hashtag activism. We're all used to the fact that we can share and share and share, and we think we've done something, but in the reality of it all, we haven't. We haven't done a single thing for our community, for our country, and for the world. So, I have something that I'd like to propose to you all. It's a new hashtag. I know, I'm kind of like that. But let's talk about a new hashtag here. It's one hashtag that will encompass all groups, all political groups, all leftists, all rightists, people who disagree and agree on different subjects, all age groups, everyone in the United States will be under this one hashtag. It's a hashtag you can't disagree with. It's a hashtag that you'll love. It's a hashtag that should be shared all over. And do you want to know what it is? Hashtag vote. Thank you.